They went into the cave and found a branch of humanity lost for thousands of years. In the gutted heart of Lyros, where stars sneered at a barren world, a faint hum pierced the dust. It sang of sealed gates and shadows stalking the ruins of lost empires. Eldrin moved through the mine's crumbling tunnels. His weathered face, carved by decades of diplomatic deals, caught the flicker of his headlamp. Sparse gray hair clung to his scalp. At 78, the engineer's steady hands belied his patched jumpsuit and haunted eyes. Kirill scrambled behind, lean and tense. The 16-year-old's dark hair fell into sharp eyes. Brash defiance masked his dread. He hauled a scavenged pack, its weight straining his shoulders. Mira followed, 14, her braids swinging. Curiosity burned in her wide eyes. She gripped a scanner, its screen pulsing faintly in the gloom. The tunnels twisted like veins in a dead beast. Rusted walls dripped, reeking of decay. Beams groaned under Lyros's crumbling crust. Toxic gas clawed their lungs, forcing patched respirators to hiss and sputter. Eldrin's headlamp swept jagged stone, seeking a stable chamber. He stopped, beam fixed on a cavern of hulking machinery, relics of a world mined to death. Dust swirled as he stepped inside. Kirill slung his pack down, dust exploding under its weight. He kicked at a rusted pipe. The clang echoed. He froze, eyes darting to the tunnel's mouth. Eldrin was already at a console, prying it open with a multi-tool. Wires spilled, brittle as bones. His fingers, calloused from years of drafting portals, probed the tangle. The mini-portal sat embedded, a fist-sized relic, etched with faded Galactic Alliance glyphs. Built for peace talks, now their desperate hope. Mira knelt beside him, scanner humming. A faint spike flashed across its screen. She adjusted the device, hands steady despite the gas's sting. The portal's core pulsed, a spark of life in the ruin. Kirill paced, boots scuffing stone. He ripped a conduit from the wall, sparks flying as he twisted it into a crude cable. His hands shook, but he forced them steady, linking wires to the portal's frame. The gas thickened, a yellow haze burning their eyes. Respirators strained, filters scavenged from wrecks barely holding. Eldrin's mask fogged, his scarred lungs rasping with each breath. Guilt flickered. Portals like this were his design, meant to unite stars, not beg for salvation. He shoved the thought aside. A metallic clank echoed from the dark, sharp, rhythmic, like claws on steel. Eldrin's headlamp snapped on in the tunnel. Kirill's hand flew to his pistol. Mira's scanner trembled. The sound faded, but its weight lingered. Kethar, biometallic predators engineered to shred ecosystems. Their shells gleamed like oil, claws slicing alloy like cloth. Lyros' scars bore their mark. Eldrin motioned to the portal. His fingers flew, splicing wires with precision. Kirill scavenged more conduits, tearing metal from walls. Sparks showered, brief stars in the gloom. Mira slotted cracked crystals into the portal's housing, their faint hum answering her touch. Plasma torches flared, blue flames licking rust. Shadows writhed on the walls. They built a camp, tarps stretched tight, packs stacked as barricades. The portal stood at the center, propped on crates, its hum growing steadier. Time dissolved in the mine's dark. Lyros spun on, uncaring. Eldrin's gaze flicked to his grandchildren. Kirill's restless steps hit a child's fear, forged by loss. Mira's quick hands carried a fragile hope, kindled by tales of better days. Eldrin pulled weapons from the packs. A scarred plasma rifle for himself, its cells glowing faint orange. Pistols for the kids, light but low yield. He opened the rifle's chamber, checking its alignment. His fingers moved with an engineer's calm, adjusting the sights for precision. Kirill snatched his pistol, thumbing the barrel into place. Mira followed, her small hands aligning her weapon sights. They moved in sync. Drills burned into muscle memory. The rifle's cells held enough for a dozen shots. The pistols, fewer. Kethar's armor laughed at such fire. Torches hissed, masks wheezed. The portal's green glow pulsed stronger. Eldrin wired the final conduit, bypassing a fried relay. The hum steadied, a lifeline threading through the void. Mira reached for a spanner on the crate. Her fingers, slick with grime, fumbled. The tool slipped, clattering on stone. The sound cracked like a whip, echoing into the tunnels. Silence slammed down. The portal's hum seemed deafening. Hearts thudded against ribs. Eldrin killed the torches. Darkness swallowed the chamber, save for the portal's sickly glow. Kirill's breath hitched. Mira pressed against the wall, fingers clutching the crate's edge. The mine held its breath. Drip stilled. Air froze. A clank rang out. Closer. Scraping followed, pulsing like a heartbeat in the walls. Kethar's sonar. Eldrin's grip tightened on his rifle. 12% charge. Enough to fight. Or flee. He motioned sharply, signaling to pack. Kirill stuffed wires into his pack, hands fumbling in the dark. Mira snatched the spanner, her fingers trembling. Clanks multiplied, echoing from multiple tunnels. Sonar pulses thrummed, hunting, mapping their prey through stone. Eldrin led them toward a deeper tunnel. They moved as shadows, boots silent on dust. The portal's hum trailed, a faint promise or a deadly lure. Lyros stirred awake. The chase ignited. Sonar pulses thrummed through the mine, mapping flesh through stone. Kethar's claws scraped alloy walls, hunting the faint hum of the Eldrin family's fragile hope. Eldrin led the retreat, plasma rifle gripped tight, its cells flickering at 12%. His headlamp sliced the dark, illuminating jagged tunnels. Toxic gas clawed his patch respirator, each breath a rasp from scarred lungs. He moved fast, boots silent on dust. Kirill stumbled behind, pack dragging at his lean frame. Wires and tools clanked inside, each sound a risk. His heart pounded, frustration burning. Grandpa's calm infuriated him. How, with death so close? But Mira's quick breaths spurred him. He'd protect her, no matter what. Mira clutched her scanner. Its screen dimmed to avoid detection. Her braids snagged on a rusted beam as she ducked low. The mine's crust groaned, dust sifting down. Her wide eyes searched for escape in the tightening veins. The tunnels narrowed, walls pressing close. Rusted supports creaked under Lyros's unstable weight. Eldrin's handheld scanner pinged, highlighting a fractured seam, a weak point for sabotage. He slid a small explosive charge from his belt, its yield enough to bury a tunnel. His fingers, steady despite the sonar's pulse, wedged it into the crack. "Keep moving," Eldrin hissed, voice low through his mask. "Stay tight." Kirill crouched, yanking his plasma pistol free. His hand shook, aligning the sights. "They're too close, Grandpa." His growl barely carried over the respirator's hiss. Mira's trembling form fueled his defiance. He'd shield her. A Kethar scout skittered into view, red sensors glowing like embers. Its biometallic body, half flesh, half metal, absorbed the dim light. Mira's pistol trembled in her grip. She fired. Plasma flared, a blue streak sizzling into its flank. The shot sparked, then died, its armor unscathed. "Useless!" she whispered, voice cracking. Her hands fumbled the overheating grip. Eldrin signaled retreat, triggering the charge's timer. 5 seconds. They scrambled back, boots slipping on shale. The tunnel shook as the explosive blew, a muffled boom collapsing the seam. Rock and metal crashed down, burying the scout in another Kethar in rubble. Dust choked the air. Eldrin coughed, his respirator faltering. Gas seeped through, burning his throat. His steps slowed, weakness creeping in. He waved them toward a wider chamber, machinery sprawling like broken bones. Kirill's pack caught on a jagged pipe. He yanked it free. "This plan's killing us," he muttered, pistol cells at 10%. He glanced at the debris pile. Sonar pulses cut through. More Kethar are coming. Mira's scanner flickered, mapping the chamber. Its high ceiling bristled with conduits, offering cover but no exits. Memories of her mother's stories, Galactic Alliance glory days, clung like a fading shield. "There's got to be a way out," she breathed, more to herself than them. Eldrin's headlamp swept the space. The portal's components rattled in Kirill's pack. "No time to rebuild here." He pointed to a machinery cluster, a makeshift barricade. They ducked behind it, respirators wheezing. The Kethar's sonar grew deafening, vibrating the walls. 3 emerged, man-sized, their segmented limbs clicking. Sensors swept like predators' eyes, glinting in the dark. Kirill gripped his pistol, pulse drowning the sonar. "We can't outrun them," he said, voice tight. Mira's hand brushed his arm, steadying him. Eldrin locked his rifle's sights on the lead Kethar, aiming for a joint where metal met flesh. He fired. Plasma crackled, a precise burst. The creature staggered, a limb sparking, but charged on. Cells dropped to 8%. "Aim for weak points," he barked. "Joints, sensors." Mira fired again, her pistol overheating. The shot grazed a Kethar's sensor, dimming its glow. It screeched, tearing steel. Eldrin shoved her behind a conduit, his rifle spitting another burst. Plasma flashes lit the chamber, each shot weaker. The Kethar closed in, claws slashing air. Their sonar mapped every twitch. Eldrin's scanner pinged, a weak ceiling beam high above. A collapse could buy time. He armed a second charge. "Kirill, cover me, now!" Kirill nodded, firing sparse shots. "Don't get yourself killed, old man." A Kethar reeled, flanks scorched but intact. Mira reloaded, fumbling a spare cell. "I'm trying," she snapped, slotting it in. Eldrin sprinted to the chamber's edge, planting the charge against the beam. The timer blinked. 10 seconds. A Kethar lunged, claws grazing his arm, tearing fabric. Pain flared. He ignored it, rolling back to cover. The charge detonated. The ceiling groaned, rocks tumbling. 2 Kethar vanished under debris, but the third skittered free, sensors locking on Mira. She froze, pistol slipping. Eldrin tackled her behind a beam. His rifle clattered, cells at 5%. Useless. "Stay down," he rasped, voice raw. Kirill grabbed her pistol, firing blindly. The shot missed, sizzling into stone. He dragged her toward a tunnel, cursing. The Kethar pursued, its sonar pulsing faster. The chamber shook, beams cracking. Dust blinded them. Eldrin's respirator faltered, coughs wet and deep. He stumbled, catching a pipe. His scanner showed no exits, only tighter veins ahead. Mira's scanner beeped faintly. The portal's core, still in Kirill's pack, pulsed. A stubborn spark. "It's still alive," she whispered, eyes meeting Eldrin's. The tunnel opened to another chamber, machinery looming. Sonar screamed, a chorus of pulses. Kethar poured in, claws glinting, sensors sweeping. Eldrin raised his rifle, finger on the trigger. Kirill pulled Mira behind a console, pistol ready. "We fight or we die," he muttered, voice steady now. The chamber felt like a grave. Silence hung for a heartbeat. The Kethar charged. The Kethar charged, their biometallic claws slashing through the dust-choked chamber. Sonar pulses hammered the air, mapping the Eldrin's every move in the crumbling mine. Eldrin crouched behind a rusted console, his plasma rifle near useless at 5% charge. His headlamp flickered, casting jagged shadows across the chamber's high ceiling. The gas burned his eyes, his failing respirator barely filtering the toxic haze. His mind raced, old engineering instincts kicking in. Calculate stress points, find leverage, survive. Kirill dragged Mira behind a toppled machine, his pack clanking with the portal's components. His lean frame tensed, pistol grip tight. Frustration boiled into panic as the Kethar's red sensors swept closer. He wanted to scream, to fight, but Mira's wide eyes anchored him. He'd keep her alive, even if it killed him. Mira clutched her scanner, its faint glow hidden against her chest. Her braids stuck to her sweat-slicked neck. Hope flickered, fragile, as memories of her mother's tales. Alliance ships crossing starlit voids clashed with the screech of claws on steel. The chamber groaned, sealing beams buckling under Lyros's unstable crust. Dust rained, cutting visibility to a gray haze. A Kethar lunged, its claw shearing through a conduit. Sparks erupted, igniting gas in a brief flare. Eldrin fired, a weak plasma burst grazing its armored flank. The creature barely slowed. "Grandpa!" Mira's voice cracked, barely audible over the sonar's thrum. She fired her pistol, the shot sizzling uselessly against a Kethar's sensor. Her hands shook, the weapon overheating. "Save your shots!" Eldrin snapped, his rasp sharp through his mask. He scanned the ceiling, instincts mapping weak points. A fractured beam, high and central, sagged under debris. Collapse it right, and it could bury the Kethar. Misjudge, and they'd be trapped. Kirill scrambled to the portal components in his pack. "We're dead if this doesn't work." His fingers fumbled wires, hot-wiring the core with a salvaged power cell. Sparks flew, the device humming faintly. Panic clawed his chest. Too slow, too exposed. A Kethar's claw swiped inches from Mira. Eldrin shoved her behind a console, his body shielding hers. The creature's sensors locked on, glowing red. He fired again, aiming for a joint. The shot sparked, slowing it, but his rifle's cells blinked at 3%. "Run!" he barked, pointing to a side tunnel. They sprinted, boots slipping on shale. The Kethar pursued, claws tearing through rusted pipes. Sonar pulses screamed, relentless, mapping their path. The tunnel opened into a wider chamber, its floor littered with broken machinery. Eldrin's scanner pinged, a weak wall, cracked from mining blasts centuries ago. He pulled his last explosive charge, its yield small but precise. "Kirill, cover us." Kirill nodded, pistol raised. "Don't mess this up, old man." His shot grazed a Kethar's limb, sparks flying. The creature screeched, lunging. Mira fired, her pistol overheating, cells drained. The shot missed, sizzling into stone. Eldrin planted the charge, timer set for 8 seconds. He calculated the fast angle of the blast, the collapse of the wall, not the chamber. His hands moved steadily, engineer's precision cutting through exhaustion. The gas tore at his lungs, his coughs wet and ragged. The charge blew. Rock and steel crashed, sealing the tunnel. 2 Kethar vanished under debris, their sonar cut silent. Dust blinded the chamber, settling slowly. Silence hung, heavy as the gas. Mira's breath hitched. "Did we get them?" Her scanner flickered, searching for signals. The portal's core hummed faintly in Kirill's pack, a stubborn pulse. Eldrin shook his head. "More coming!" His scanner showed new pulses, faint but closing. He pointed to the chamber's center, where the portal's frame lay half-assembled. "Kirill, wire it, now!" Kirill dropped to his knees, hands shaking as he connected cables. "This is insane," he muttered, splicing wires to the core. Sparks snapped, the hum growing erratic. "It's not stabilizing." Panic edged his voice, fingers fumbling. A Kethar broke through the debris, claws slicing steel beams like paper. Its sensors swept, locking on Mira. She stumbled back, pistol slipping. "Grandpa!" Her cry echoed, sharp with fear. Eldrin grabbed her, pulling her behind a machine. His rifle clattered, useless now. The Kethar charged, its body a blur of metal and flesh. Kirill fired, his last shot sparking off its armor. The creature didn't flinch. The ceiling groaned louder, cracks spiderwebbing. Eldrin's eyes flicked up. Another weak point, too close to risk. No more charges. His mind raced for options. The portal was their only shot, but it wasn't ready. "Keep at it," he told Carol, voice hoarse. He grabbed a rusted pipe, wielding it like a club. The Kethar lunged, claws grazing his shoulder. Pain flared, blood seeping through his jumpsuit. He swung, the pipe cracking against its sensor. The glow dimmed, but it kept coming. Mira scrambled to Carol, her scanner beeping. "The core's active," she whispered, hope trembling. "We're close." Her fingers joined his, threading wires with desperate speed. The Kethar's sonar pulsed again, joined by others. 3 more emerged, claws glinting in the headlamp's beam. The chamber shook, rocks tumbling. Eldrin backed toward the portal, pipe raised. "Hurry!" he rasped. Carol's hands steadied, connecting the last cable. The portal hummed louder, lights flickering green. "It's on!" he shouted, voice raw. But the core sparked, unstable, threatening to fail. The Kethar closed in, their pulses a deafening chorus. Eldrin swung the pipe, deflecting a claw. His respirator faltered, gas searing his lungs. He coughed, stumbling, but held his ground. Mira's scanner flashed, the portal's signal spiking. "It's working!" she cried, but doubt lingered. Would it save them or doom them? The chamber's ceiling cracked, dust and stone raining. The Kethar surged, claws slashing air. Eldrin's pipe struck again, buying seconds. Carol yanked a lever, the portal's frame shuddering. A green glow erupted, blinding. The portal sparked, its hum roaring. But it flickered, unstable, as the Kethar charged. Eldrin shoved Corel and Mira behind him. "Hold on," he growled, raising the pipe. The chamber felt like a trap, closing tight. The Kethar lunged, the portal flared. Hope and death collided in the dark. The portal's green glow flared, a wild pulse tearing through the collapsing chamber. Kethar's claws slashed air, their sonar screaming as the mines shuddered around the Eldrins. Eldrin braced against a console, his plasma rifle dead at 3% charge. Blood seeped from his torn shoulder, staining his patched jumpsuit. His headlamp flickered, casting jagged beams across the dust-choked dark. Gas burned his lungs, his failing respirator barely holding. Kirill crouched beside Mira, his pistol empty, its barrel hot from futile shots. His lean frame shook, panic warring with defiance. The portal's components rattled in his pack, their faint hum a mocking lifeline. Mira clutched her scanner, its screen glowing erratically. Her braids clung to her sweat-slicked neck, hope fading in her wide eyes. The Kethar lunged, their biometallic bodies glinting, claws sheared through a rusted beam, sparks flying. The ceiling groaned, rocks tumbling as Lyros' crust buckled. Eldrin swung his scavenge pipe, cracking a Kethar's sensor. The red glow dimmed, but the creature pressed forward, relentless. The portal sparked violently, its frame shuddering. A rift tore open, green light flooding the chamber. The air hummed, electric, calming the chaos. Shapes emerged from the glow, tall, humanoid, their limbs woven of wood and flesh, veins pulsing with bioluminescent light. Kirill froze, gripping his useless pistol. "What are they?" he whispered, mistaking the figures for new threats. His heart pounded, instincts screaming to fight or flee. The newcomers moved with eerie grace. Their bodies, half human, half wood, shimmered in the portal's light. They raised no weapons. Instead, their veins flared, emitting sharp pulses of energy. The lead Kethar screeched, its armor cracking. In seconds, it collapsed into dust, its metallic core disintegrated. The others followed, reduced to ash by the silent biological storm. Mira's scanner fell silent. She stared, voice trembling. "They're saving us?" Her eyes traced the figure's humanoid faces, their wooden limbs an alien mirror of humanity. Eldrin lowered his pipe, stunned. The technology was beyond anything he'd engineered. Organic circuits, fused with mechanical precision, far past Galactic Alliance designs. His mind raced, piecing together the impossible. Biofusion, he muttered, awed. A figure stepped forward, its voice melodic but firm, cutting through the settling dust. Come with us, or die here. Its eyes glowing faintly, locked on Eldrin. The portal crackled behind, its green light flickering, unstable. The chamber shook, more beams cracking. A surviving Kethar skittered from the rubble, its claw slashing toward Mira. She stumbled, her empty pistol clattering. A Sylari moved faster, its hand pulsing with energy. The Kethar froze, then crumbled, the air thick with ozone and sap. Kirill's grip tightened, his voice sharp. Who are you? He stepped in front of Mira, pistol raised despite its dead cells. The Sylari's calm unnerved him, their power too strange. The leader's gaze softened, but its tone held no compromise. No time. The mind collapses, follow, or be buried. The portal sparked, its frame groaning under strain. Eldrin hesitated, his engineer's mind wrestling with distrust. The Kethar were humanity's creation. Had these beings come to judge them? Yet the chamber's walls buckled, dust choking the air. Death was certain here. He glanced at his grandchildren, their faces pale behind fogged masks. Mira's hand brushed Kirill's arm. They killed the Kethar, she whispered, hope flickering. Maybe they're friends? Her scanner beeped faintly, the portal signal fading fast. The ceiling groaned, a massive crack splitting overhead. Rocks crashed, narrowly missing Kirill. Eldrin made his choice. Move, he barked, shoving them toward the portal. His shoulder burned, but he gripped the pipe, ready for betrayal. The Sylari led, their bioluminescent veins lighting the way. The portal's rift pulsed, green light swallowing them as they stepped through. The chamber collapsed behind, a roar of stone and steel sealing Lyros's tomb. They emerged in a vast space, walls pulsing with organic circuits. Vines wove through metal, glowing consoles humming with life. The air was clean, heavy with the scent of sap. A massive hull loomed, engraved with an ancient earth emblem, a relic from a lost age. Eldrin's breath caught. The emblem stirred memories of Alliance archives, of humanity's first steps into the stars. This ship, he murmured, tracing the symbol. It challenged everything he knew. Kirill lowered his pistol, eyes wide. Earth? How? His voice shook, caught between awe and suspicion. The Sylari's technology dwarfed anything human, yet the emblem tied them to a shared past. Mira stepped forward, scanner trembling in her hands. They're like us, she said softly, staring at a Sylari's humanoid face. Its wooden limbs moved with fluid strength, a fusion of nature and machine. The leader turned, its voice steady. We are Sylari, descendants of your kind, lost to time. This ship answers your signal, but you must trust us. The portal behind flickered, then died, its frame dark. Eldrin's mind reeled. Descendants. Humanity had fractured millennia ago. But this, his gaze flicked to the ship's consoles, vines pulsing with data. The Sylari's biofusion tech was centuries ahead, a blend of life and machine he could barely fathom. Kirill's jaw tightened. Trust you? After that? He gestured to the dead portal, his defiance flaring. You could be worse than the Kethar. Mira touched his arm, her voice soft. They saved us, Kirill. Look at this place. Her eyes roamed the ship, hope battling fear. The Sylari leader stepped closer, its veins dimming. Time runs short. The Kethar was no accident. Your kind birthed them, weapons to clear worlds. We came to stop them. its gaze locked on Eldrin. Decide now, stay, or face what follows. The ship trembled faintly, its organic engines humming. Eldrin's shoulder throbbed, his respirator useless now. The emblem loomed, a question carved in metal. Were these allies or judges of humanity's sins? Kirill gripped Mira's hand, his pistol still raised. Grandpa, what's the call? His voice held a new edge, fear tempered by resolve. Eldrin stared at the emblem, his past colliding with the present. The Sylari offered escape, but at what cost? The ship's hum grew louder, urging a choice. The chamber's silence pressed in, heavy with the weight of a dead world. The Sylari waited, their light steady in the dark. The Sylari ship pulsed with life, its organic walls humming as the Eldrin stood beneath the ancient Earth emblem. The air, thick with sap and metal, carried the weight of a truth too vast for the crumbling mind they'd left behind. Eldrin traced the emblem's lines, his weathered fingers trembling. Blood crusted his torn shoulder, pain a dull throb under his patched jumpsuit. His headlamp, useless now, hung at his belt. The ship's bioluminescent vines cast soft light, revealing consoles woven with living circuits. His engineer's mind churned. Humanity's mark on this alien craft defied everything he'd known. Kirill stood rigid, his empty pistol still clutched tight. His lean frame bristled with defiance, dark hair plastered to his sweat-streaked forehead. The Sylari's calm unnerved him, their power a threat he couldn't gauge. Mira gripped her scanner, its screen dark now, her braids loose and frayed. Her wide eyes darted between the Sylari and the emblem, hope tangled with doubt. The Sylari leader, its wooden limbs fluid, gestured to the emblem. Your kind forged this, 3 millennia past. Its melodic voice cut the hum. And the Kethar, your weapons, built to clear worlds for colonies, a truth buried by your alliance. Eldrin's breath caught, his lungs rasping without the respirator. Weapons? His voice was hoarse, disbelief sharp. He designed portals for peace, not war. The idea of humanity crafting the Kethar, biometallic horrors that stripped Lyros bare, felt like a betrayal of his life's work. Kirill's fist clenched, pistol shaking. That's a lie, he snapped, stepping forward. The Kethar are aliens, not ours. His eyes blazed, pride in humanity warring with the Sylari's words. He'd lost too much to accept this. Mira's scanner slipped in her hands. But the emblem, she whispered, staring at the carved Earth symbol. It's human. They're connected to us. Her voice trembled, caught between awe and fear. The leader's veins pulsed faintly. We are Sylari, born of humans who merged with alien ecosystems, lost to your histories. It moved to a console, vines shifting to display a star map. The Kethar were unleashed again, remotely by a human faction still active. They threaten all. Eldrin approached a Sylari staff, propped against a wall. Its surface gleamed organic and metallic, emitting controlled biopulses. He ran a finger along it, marveling. It's centuries beyond our tech. The pulses were precise, unlike the crude plasma rifles he knew. His mind raced. Humanity had birthed both monsters and miracles. Kirill paced, his boots scuffing the ship's living floor. So what? You save us just to blame us? His voice cracked, anger masking fear. He glanced at Mira, her pale face fueling his resolve to challenge the Sylari. A young Sylari approached Mira, its veins glowing soft green. It knelt, offering a salve from a vine-wrapped vial. Your wounds, it said, voice gentle. It spread the salve on her scraped hands, the gashes closing under a cool, tingling film. Mira's eyes widened, gratitude flickering. Thank you, she murmured, her scanner forgotten. Sylari's compassion stirred her hope, a fragile spark against Kirill's doubt. The ship trembled, its organic engines humming louder. Eldrin's gaze flicked to the consoles, their vine circuits pulsing with data. He stepped closer, decoding a navigation panel. The ship was accelerating toward a star system 12 light-years away, a Sylari stronghold. The emblem loomed above, tying past to present. The Sylari leader turned. The faction controls Kethar from a fortified colony. We go to stop them. Its eyes locked on Eldrin. You are here because your signal called us. But trust is your choice. Kirill snorted, gripping his pistol tighter. Trust? You trap us on your ship and call humans the problem. His defiance flared, but the Sylari's actions, Mira's healed hands, gnawed at his certainty. Eldrin's mind spun. The Kethar as human weapons. His portals had linked colonies, not armed them. Yet the emblem mocked his ignorance. If this is true, he said slowly, why help us? His voice carried the weight of decades spent navigating galactic treaties. The leader's veins dimmed. Because some of your kind can change. We were human once. We believe you can be more. It gestured to the star map, 47 habitable worlds glowing faintly. But time runs short. Mira stepped closer to the map, her hope reigniting. You've got whole worlds out there. Her voice was soft, almost reverent. The idea of life beyond Lyros' ruins stirred her mother's stories. Hope wasn't just a dream. A sudden jolt rocked the ship. Alarms hummed, vines pulsing red. A Sylari at a console hissed, its voice sharp. Kethar, in the cargo hold, it stowed away. Eldrin grabbed the Sylari staff, its weight unfamiliar but balanced. How many? He asked, his engineer's calm returning. One, the leader replied, veins flaring. But enough. Kirill dropped his useless pistol, snatching a loose conduit from the floor. Great. More monsters. His sarcasm hid fear, but he stepped toward the hold's entrance, ready to fight. Mira grabbed her scanner, its battery low but active. I can track it, she said, fingers flying over the screen. A faint signal blinked, the Kethar's sonar moving fast. The hold's doors slid open, revealing a cavernous space tangled with vines and crates. The Kethar skittered inside, its claws glinting. Its sensors swept, locking on Kirill. He swung the conduit, striking its flank. Sparks flew, but the armor held. The Sylari leader pulsed energy, the air crackling with ozone. The Kethar staggered, its core sparking, but it lunged again, claws slashing a vine console. Data flickered, the ship's hum faltering. Eldrin swung the staff, a biopulse bursting from its tip. The Kethar screeched, a limb crumbling. Aim for the core, he shouted, his voice raw. The staff's precision awed him. Humanity's tech had never been this elegant. Kirill ducked a claw, rolling behind a crate. This thing won't die, he yelled, swinging again. The conduit dented the Kethar's armor, slowing it. Mira's scanner beeped, pinpointing the creature's core, a glowing node in its chest. There, she called, tossing Kirill a loose tool. He caught it, jamming it into the node. The Kethar convulsed, collapsing in a heap of sparking metal. The ship's alarms quieted. The Sylari leader nodded, veins dimming. You fought well, it said, but the true fight lies ahead. Eldrin lowered the staff, his shoulder throbbing. The emblem loomed, a reminder of humanity's dual legacy, creation, and destruction. The Sylari's truth shook him, but their actions offered a thread of trust. Kirill wiped sweat from his brow, his defiance softening. Mira's healed hands steadied her scanner, her hope burning brighter. The ship's engines hummed, carrying them toward the unknown. The portal was gone, Lyros sealed behind them. The Sylari watched, their light steady in the living dark. The Sylari ship surged through the void, its organic engines humming at 0.8 light speed toward a distant star system. Vines pulsed along the walls, their bioluminescent glow casting shadows that dance with the rhythm of a living machine. Eldrin stood by a console, his weathered hands tracing its vine-woven circuits. His torn shoulder ached, blood crusted under his patched jumpsuit. The ancient Earth emblem loomed above, a haunting echo of humanity's lost glory. His engineer's mind wrestled with Sylari's claim, humans as creators of the Kethar, now a galactic threat. Doubt gnawed, but the ship's tech, a seamless blend of life and metal, demanded respect. Kirill paced the living deck, his lean frame taut with restless energy. Dark hair clung to his sweat-damp forehead. The Sylari's words burned. Humans, a danger? Pride in his kind clashed with the truth of their compassion. Mira's healed hands, treated by their salves, softened his defiance, but suspicion lingered. Mira sat cross-legged, her scanner balanced on her knees. Her braids hung loose, framing wide eyes that studied a young Sylari nearby. Its wooden limbs moved with fluid grace, veins glowing soft green. "How do you live so long?" she asked, voice soft with wonder. 500 years? The Sylari tilted its head, its voice like a chime. "Our biofusion binds us to life's pulse. Toxins cannot break us." It gestured to the ship's walls, vines humming with energy. Mira's hope flared. Worlds beyond Lyros' ruins seemed possible now. Eldrin tapped the console, decoding its navigation. A star map flickered, pinpointing a system 12 light-years away. A Sylari stronghold or a trap. "We're moving fast," he muttered, his rasp barely audible. But to what end? Kirill stopped pacing, his boots scuffing the organic floor. "To fight more of our mess, they say." His voice dripped with sarcasm, but his eyes flicked to the emblem, doubt creeping in. If humans made the Kethar, why trust us now? The Sylari leader, its veins pulsing steadily, turned from a console. "Because you fight with us," it said. "The Kethar are controlled by a human faction, hidden in a fortified colony. We go to end them." Its gaze locked on Eldrin, unyielding. A sudden jolt shook the ship. Alarms hummed, vines flashing red. A Sylari at a console hissed, "Kethar! Cargo hold! It hit among the crates." Eldrin grabbed the biopulse staff, its weight familiar now. "How'd it get aboard?" he demanded, his engineer's mind already mapping the hold's layout. "Through the portal," the leader replied. "One clung to the rift." Its veins flared, readying a pulse. Kirill snatched a loose conduit from the floor, gripping it like a club. "Another fight? Perfect." His sarcasm masked fear, but he moved toward the hold, resolve hardening. Mira's scanner beeped, tracking the Kethar's sonar. "It's fast," she warned, fingers flying over the screen. Her heart raced, but she held steady, inspired by Sylari's calm. The hold's door slid open, revealing a tangle of vines and crates. The Kethar skittered within, its biometallic claws glinting. Its sensors swept, locking on Kirill. He swung the conduit, striking its flank. Sparks flew, but the armor held, unshaken. The Sylari leader pulsed energy, the air crackling with ozone. The Kethar staggered, its core sparking, but the confined space dulled the pulse's force. It lunged, claws slashing a vine console. Data flickered, the ship's hum faltering. Eldrin raised the staff, firing a biopulse. The Kethar screeched, a limb crumbling. "Tight quarters weaken their pulses," he shouted, mind racing. He spotted a plasma coil among the crates, a relic from Lyros. "Kirill, help me rig it." Kirill ducked a claw, rolling to the coil. "A trap? About time." His hands moved fast, wiring the coil to a power cell from his pack. Sparks snapped as he linked it to a conduit, creating a crude plasma trap. Mira's scanner pinpointed the Kethar's core, a glowing node in its chest. "There," she called, tossing Kirill a tool. He caught it, jamming it into the node. The creature convulsed, slowing. Eldrin triggered the trap. Plasma arced, a blue-white flare engulfing the Kethar. It screeched, collapsing in a heap of sparking metal. The hole's vines dimmed, then steadied, alarm silencing. Kirill wiped sweat from his brow, his breath heavy. That was too close, he muttered, glancing at Mira. Her steady hands on the scanner sparked pride. He wasn't alone in this fight. The Sylari leader nodded, its veins calming. You adapt fast. A human trait. It turned to the star map, the colony's coordinates glowing. The faction awaits. They wield Kethar as weapons, endangering all. Eldrin's shoulder throbbed, his mind heavy with fear. Did the Sylari see all humans as threats, even them? If we're such a danger, he said, voice low, why take us along? The leader's eyes glowed faintly. Because you question, you fight, you may yet redeem. It gestured to the map, 47 worlds blinking. We seek allies, not enemies. Mira's eyes lingered on the map, her hope burning brighter. Those worlds? They're alive? She asked, voice soft. The Sylari nodded, and her heart lifted. Her mother's stories weren't just dreams. Kirill gripped the conduit, his defiance softening. Allies, huh? He muttered. Better not be another trap. But the Kethar's defeat and Mira's courage steadied him. He wasn't the naive boy from Lyros anymore. The ship trembled, entering an asteroid field. Rocks pinged the hull, the organic engines groaning. The colony loomed closer, a fortress of human ambition and danger. Eldrin set the staff down, his gaze on the emblem. Humanity's legacy was a tangled web of creation and ruin. The Sylari offered a path, but trust came hard. His fingers brushed the console, its vines warm with life. Mira clutched her scanner, its signal faint but steady. We're not done yet, she said, more to herself than them. Her hope felt stronger now, a fire kindled by action. Kirill nodded, conduit still in hand. Let's end this faction, he said, voice firm. Courage had taken root, fragile but growing. The ship surged on, its living hum a pulse in the dark. The asteroid field loomed, a gauntlet before the fight. The Sylari watched, their lights steady as the Eldrins braced for what lay ahead. The Sylari ship shuddered through the asteroid field, its organic hull pinging with impacts as it approached a fortified human colony. Orbiting a swirling gas giant, the station bristled with 50 plasma turrets, their barrels glinting in the starlight like teeth bared for war. Eldrin stood at a vine-woven console, his weathered hands steady despite the ache in his torn shoulder. The ancient Earth emblem loomed above, a silent judge of humanity's sins. His jumpsuit hung tattered, blood-crusted from the Kethar's claw. His engineer's mind churned, decoding the colony's defenses through stolen data streams. Kirill adjusted a biofusion vest, its organic fibers tight against his lean frame. The Sylari tech enhanced his strength, but its alien pulse felt like a second skin he couldn't trust. His dark hair stuck to his forehead, defiance hardening into resolve. I'm going in, he said, gripping a borrowed biopulse staff. Let's end this. Mira lingered by the star map, her braids loose, her scanner tucked away. Pride for Kirill's courage warred with fear. She couldn't lose him. Be careful, she whispered, her voice barely audible over the ship's hum. Her wide eyes held their bond, a tether against the unknown. The Sylari leader, its veins pulsing steadily, handed Eldrin a comm device. Guide them from here, it said, its melodic tone firm. The faction's hive must fall. Its wooden limbs moved with purpose, rallying a strike team of Sylari warriors. Eldrin hacked into the colony's comms, his fingers flying over the console. Voices crackled through, human mercenaries planning to unleash Kethar across 10 star systems. They're arming more, he muttered, his rasp sharp. We're out of time. The strike team, Kirill among them, boarded a stealth pod. Its organic hull pulsed, cloaking it from sensors. Kirill gripped the staff, its biopulses humming in his hands. "This better work," he said to a Sylari beside him. The pod launched, slipping past turrets into the colony's underbelly. Inside, the station's corridors gleamed, stark and sterile. Mercenaries patrolled, their high-yield plasma rifles glowing hot. Kirill ducked behind a crate, staff ready. A mercenary passed, boots clanging. Kirill lunged, pulsing the staff. The man collapsed, armor scorched, rifle melting into the deck. The Sylari team fanned out, their biopulses disrupting power grids. Lights flickered, alarms blaring. A turret swiveled, its plasma barrage tearing through a wall. Kirill rolled, staff pulsing, shattering the turret's core. Sparks rained, the air thick with ozone. Back on the ship, Eldrin's console streamed data. "Kirill, left corridor, Hive's core is 200 meters ahead," he said, voice steady despite his racing pulse. His scanner mapped weak points, a shielded chamber housing the Kethar hive. "Avoid the main grid, it's rigged." Mira clutched the comm, her voice tight. "Kirill, you hear that? Stay sharp." Her fear for him choked her, but his courage fueled her own. She fed Eldrin coordinates, her hands steady on the console. The Sylari pulsed again, shutting down a power relay. The station dimmed, but the hive shield held, glowing blue. Dozens of Kethar poured out, their claws glinting, sonar screaming. Chiral's staff flared, disintegrating one. But more came, their armor shrugging off pulses in the tight corridors. A mercenary fired, plasma melting a Sylari's arm. Kirill swung his staff, the pulse cracking the man's armor. "Keep moving," he shouted, leading the team toward the hive. His heart pounded, but fear burned into focus. He wasn't the scared boy from Lyros anymore. Eldrin's voice crackled through. "Hive's core, unstable power node at its base. Overload it." His engineer's precision cut through the chaos, guiding Kirill's team. He glanced at Mira, her face pale but resolute. Mira's fingers flew over the console, pinpointing the node. "Kirill, it's exposed on the south side," she called, her voice breaking through static. Her bond with him steadied her, fear giving way to purpose. Kirill reached the hive, its shield pulsing. Kethar swarmed, claws slashing. He ducked, staff flaring, crumbling too. A Sylari beside him fell, its veins dimming. Kirill's pulse raced. This was his fight now. He spotted the node glowing faintly through the shield. "Cover me," he yelled, sprinting forward. A Kethar lunged, he rolled, pulsing the staff. The creature collapsed, sparking. Kirill jammed the staff into the node, twisting its settings to overload. The hive hummed, its shield flickering. The chamber shook, walls cracking. The node sparked, energy surging. Kirill stumbled back as the hive's core erupted, a white-hot blast engulfing the chamber. Kethar screeched, disintegrating. The shield collapsed, debris raining. Kirill was trapped, a falling beam pinning his leg. Pain seared, but he gritted his teeth. "I'm stuck," he shouted into the comm, voice raw. Mira's breath caught. "Kirill!" She gripped the console, helpless. Eldrin's hands froze, his mind racing for a plan. The Sylari leader moved, veins flaring bright. It pulsed, shattering the beam. Debris grazed its body, wood splintering. It pulled Kirill free, its light dimming. "Go," it rasped, voice fading. "Humanity can be more." It collapsed, its sacrifice a silent testament. Kirill staggered to his feet, staff in hand. The hive was silent, its Kethar gone. The team retreated, dragging wounded Sylari. Plasma fire chased them, mercenaries rallying. Kirill pulsed the staff, collapsing a corridor to cover their escape. Eldrin guided them back, his voice steady. "Pods at the dock. Move fast." His heart pounded, Mira's fear, Kirill's survival, and the leader's sacrifice. Humanity's worth was a question he couldn't answer. Mira clutched the comm, tears in her eyes. "You're okay," she whispered, relief flooding her. Kirill's courage, the Sylari's faith, they were her anchor now. The pod launched, slipping past turrets. The station burned behind, its hive destroyed. Kirill gripped the staff, his resolve hardened. He wasn't naive anymore. He'd fight for a future, human or not. The Sylari ship trembled, its engines straining. The colony's threat was gone, but the cost hung heavy. The emblem glowed, a reminder of humanity's tangled legacy. Eldrin set the comm down, his shoulder throbbing. The Sylari sacrifice echoed faith in humanity, despite its sins. He wondered if he could believe it too. Mira watched the star map, its 47 worlds of faint hope. Kirill's survival lit a fire in her. They weren't just survivors, they were fighters now. The ship surged on, battered but alive, toward an uncertain dawn. The Sylari ship limped through the void, its organic hull scarred from the colony's plasma fire. The gas giant's glow faded behind, leaving only stars and the weight of a shattered human fortress. Eldrin stood before the ancient Earth emblem, its carved lines glinting in the ship's bioluminescent light. His torn shoulder throbbed, blood crusted under his patched jumpsuit. At 78, his weathered hands trembled, not from age but from the truth. Humanity had sown both ruin and redemption. His engineer's mind grappled with the Sylari sacrifice, their faith in a species he doubted. Kirill leaned against a vine-woven console, his lean frame steady now. The biofusion vest hung loose, its alien pulse no longer foreign. His dark hair fell into eyes no longer brash, but resolute. The boy from Lyros, once skeptical and afraid, had fought and survived. Pride in humanity stirred, tempered by the Kethar's truth. Mira sat nearby, sketching the emblem on a salvaged tablet. Her braids hung loose, framing wide eyes that held hope stronger than ever. The Sylari's 47 worlds glowed on the star map, a promise beyond her mother's stories. Her bond with Kirill, forged in the mind's chaos, anchored her. The Sylari crew moved quietly, their veins dimmed by loss. The leader's sacrifice lingered, a silent testament to their belief in humanity's potential. A young Sylari approached, its voice soft. "You fought with us. Now choose, join our alliance to rebuild or return to a human colony, distant but safe." Eldrin's gaze lingered on the emblem. His life's work, portals for peace, had crumbled with the Galactic Alliance. Yet the Sylari's biofusion tech, their living ship, offered a chance to restore worlds like Lyros. "I've built bridges before," he said, voice hoarse. "I'll do it again. With you." Kirill stepped forward, his staff propped nearby. "I'm in," he said, voice firm. "Humans messed up, but we're not done. I'll prove we can be better." His defiance had grown into purpose, a vow to rebuild trust across species. The scared boy was gone, replaced by a fighter who'd faced Kethar and won. Mira set her tablet down, her sketch half finished. "I'm staying too," she said, eyes bright. "We can't forget this, humanity's mistakes or its hope. I'll keep the truth alive." Her optimism, once fragile, now burned steadily, a fire kindled by survival and sacrifice. The star map pulsed, revealing 47 habitable worlds in the Sylari's network. Green planets, blue oceans, alive where Lyros was dead. Eldrin's mind turned to restoration. Biofusion could heal scars, rebuild ecosystems. His hands itched to work, to redeem his past. The ship's engines groaned, half power after the battle. Vines flickered, consoles dimmed. A Sylari technician moved among them, repairing circuits with pulses of light. The air hummed with sap and metal, a living pulse that felt like home. Kirill's gaze drifted to the map. 47 world, he murmured. That's a start. His voice carried a new weight, pride in humanity's resilience. He'd fought for Mira, for survival, and now for a future he could shape. Mira's fingers traced her sketch. The emblem's curves held both disaster and salvation, humanity's dual legacy. "We'll carry this," she said softly to Kirill. "Not just the symbol, the truth." Her fear had forged into purpose, a need to preserve their story for those worlds ahead. The Sylari technician paused, its veins glowing. "You are bridges," it said, "human and Sylari, together." Its words echoed the leader's sacrifice, a call to unite what history had torn apart. Eldrin nodded, his resolve hardening. "We've destroyed, but we can rebuild." His voice steadied, the engineer's calm returning. "Those worlds need us. Lyros taught me that." His guilt, once a weight, now fueled his purpose to mend what humanity had broken. The ship trembled, engines glowing as it cleared the asteroid field. The star map shifted, plotting a course to the Sylari's nearest world. The hull's emblem caught the light, a beacon in the dark. Kirill gripped Mira's shoulder, a silent vow. "We're not just survivors anymore," he said. "We're builders." His courage, born in the mind's chaos, now aimed at the stars. Mira smiled, her sketch complete. "And storytellers," she added. Her hope, once a flicker, now lit the way forward, a bridge between past and future. The Sylari ship surged on, its organic pulse steady despite its wounds. The crew worked in silence, their light guiding the Eldrans toward an uncertain dawn. Eldrin spoke, his voice low but clear, addressing the emblem as if it could hear. "We made monsters, but we also made you," he said. "The Kethar were our failure, a truth we buried. The Sylari, you, are our redemption, a branch of us that grew beyond our mistakes. We'll carry both the shame and the hope of those 47 worlds, not as saviors, but as learners, building something new. Together." His words hung, a promise to the stars, a confession of humanity's flaws and dreams. The emblem faded into the starlight, its lines blurring as the ship accelerated. The void stretched ahead, vast and unyielding, but not empty. Hope pulsed in the ship's living heart, in the Eldrin's resolve, in the Sylari's quiet faith. The engines glowed, carrying them toward a new beginning. Humanity's legacy, flawed, redeemable, trailed behind, etched in the stars.